Hey everybody, welcome back to one of my videos. I wanted to show you the monthly budgeting book that I have selected to use for 2025. It took me ages to settle on this book. There's a couple things that I was sort of not sure that I was going to like about it, but then there were other parts of it that I really liked the look of. I've never tried this brand before. It's the Legend Planner. But yeah, I don't know if you've used one. What do you think? Do you like it? It's the first time I've had a budgeting book that doesn't have a coil binding, and that was the thing that really made me pause about it for a while, because I like being able to just flip the book all over and just you know how you work with like a coil notebook, right? But there were parts on the inside that I really liked the look of, at least when I was checking it out on Amazon. So I thought I would give it a try. Now this brand, they do have books with the same layout according to Amazon anyways on the inside, but in different sizes. So they do have a coil version that's quite a bit bigger, but the cover, while the same color choices, doesn't have like the pretty pattern on it. And I'm not gonna lie, the prettiness of this pattern is what drew me to it originally. I know that picking your budgeting book based on the cover is not the wisest decision, and I don't think I've ever actually done that before, but it drew the eye when I was looking at things. I thought it was so pretty, and then when I was looking at it on the Amazon listing, I don't know, there was just a lot that I thought seemed good. So we're going to give it a try. If I do really like the layout, but I find that the book itself is a little bit too small, or I really hate the fact that it doesn't have the coil binding, at least I will know. I mean, not soon, since this is for 2025, but I can always, for like the year, like the next year after that, 2026, try the larger one that doesn't have as pretty of a cover but has the same layout, assuming they still sell it, and we could try a slightly different version. So I thought I'd go through the book with you and we can learn about it together. So on the back it says you can take control of your finances, break your bad spending habits, stay focused on your financial goals, live a happier, more fulfilling life. It's quite an ambitious goal for a budgeting book. It's undated, it's 12 months, bleed resistant paper. There's a back pocket for your receipts, monthly expense trackers, monthly budget and review, savings, debt and bill trackers, and additional pages for notes. And I like how it tells me it's purple. So let's just get this open. Let's get you centered. Sorry, that sound is my chair. It comes with this sort of instruction guide for how to use it. I'll go through that kind of off camera and figure it out, and then as we go through the year, I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm always so nervous with new books, like I don't want to hurt them. So the front page, as always, most of them, they have like a contact thing in the front. Your reward? No. This one, I don't know if I'm going to use these first couple pages. I saw them in like the description on the Amazon listing, and I was like, that is not really my style. But forgetting the fact that that might mean I just have some blank unused pages, the rest of the book I think makes up for it. So it's a My Life financial plan. So you put in an age or like an age range, and then where you want to be with your career and business, active income, and the like. And if I remember from the video, they had it starting at like sort of in your 20s and going through to like retirement or something. I don't really have that. Like I don't sit down and think about like my life financial plan. Maybe I should, but I don't. And I don't think this book's going to inspire me to do it. I might, if I think of something else I want to use these pages for, cover them and use them for something that I find more useful, or I might just ignore them altogether. I have not yet decided. And then here's my 1-year financial goals. They recommended on the video listing just, the 8 goals that you have for the year that are your financial goals. I might use this, although honestly I have it's one goal, and it's to pay off my line of credit. So I don't know that I really have 8 financial goals. I think some people might, and that's amazing and kudos to you, but my singular goal right now, I'm very honed in on paying off the line of credit. And they did show in the video using the mind map, kind of how to use this page to figure out how to reach your financial goals. I don't know if I'll use this either, to be honest, because like my reaching of the financial goal, which is paying off the line of credit, is earn money, pay off line of credit. It's not that complicated, but for some people they might really like doing a mind map, and I might. I mean, I sound like I'm judging it, and I don't mean to. I might try it, or like at least try to figure out how it works, but for now we're just looking. Okay, that is a tiny calendar. That is so tiny. Oh no. Okay, now I'm not so sure if I made the right choice with going with this book. I thought that I can write small, neat handwriting and printing and it might be okay. And so I went with this size, and I did actually take a measuring tape and measure it out, and I knew that it was going to be smaller in size than the current planner that I'm using, but it didn't seem like it was that much smaller, and I didn't think it would make that much of an impact. But this is actually a very small calendar for writing in. I might not be able to use really any stickers, because even though I use the super tiny ones from the dollar store, that'll still take up quite a bit of space within this calendar. I mean, we'll find out together. Maybe I'll be able to. I don't know. So because it's undated, you can start it whenever you want. I will be starting it in January of 2025. So there's a spot to put the month, and then your opening balance. I suppose they mean of like your checking account. I'm not sure. Your most important goals this month, and there's 4 spaces for that. I kind of like that idea. You know, like, because admittedly mine is going to be every month. There's going to be something in there about paying off a line of credit, but month to month, I might have sort of smaller set financial goals for, say, saving up to be able to go see my mom for a week, or I don't know, saving up to have money on the weekend to pay for things at like a dragon boat race festival, something like that, you know. So like little goals like that is good. And then of course the tiny calendar, and then down here it gives you 5 lines for income and 5 lines for savings. Now this was something that I really liked. A lot of the budgeting planners that I was looking at had like 8 lines for income. I'm only one person and I have one job, and I occasionally get money from other sources, but not enough to warrant 8 lines of space being saved for that. Now, I suppose if you're like a 2-income family and both of you have at least one job, if not like 2 or more, then maybe you need those 8 lines, or maybe you have a lot of side gigs or something. Maybe, but for me, I didn't need 8 lines. So this was nice that it was a smaller one. And I also liked here for like keeping track of savings. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to use this, because there's a different savings tracker later in the book, and I don't know that this, maybe it's just sort of a to list like a savings category and how much you move into it, but I have more savings categories than that. So I don't know exactly how I'll use this little section yet, but I guess I'll find out. Now the monthly budget, the only thing about this page that I didn't like is that the categories are pre-written in. That bugs me about pretty much every single budget planner. The one that I'm using currently for 2024 and I used last year is the only one I've ever come across where these sections are not already filled in. I think it's stupid, in my opinion, to pre-fill these in, because everybody's budget is different. You don't know what they're going to have, and you don't even know how much space they need necessarily for the different categories. Like there's a lot of lines in the home section and in the personal section, and I get that if you're like paying rent and then say like your cell phone and your internet and your cable and your water and your electrical and your parking, and like you have all of these things as separated out expenses, then sure, you need a lot of lines for that, because those would all fall under home. But for me, I rent, and my rent includes all of those things except for the cell phone. So I don't need all of these lines. Like it's a lot of space for that category for me. In all honesty, there's very few categories I have that would need that much space. But it was one of the things that I knew about, and I decided to go ahead and try the book anyways, just because I can always sort of white it out and put little labels and recategorize these if I want to. It might not stay super neat, but it'll be more functional for me. So they have home, personal, food, transportation, healthcare, entertainment, loans, and other. And within each category, they have the budgeted column and then the actual column. So if you're one of those people that budgets, I don't know, like $80 for your cell phone, and then it turns out to be 85, you can like correct the amount. And then it has at the bottom total budgeted, total actual, and then what the difference is. I generally don't track those. Some people do, which is great. It's just sort of not a thing that has really ever spoken to me when budgeting. The healthcare category, I do not need. The loans, I suppose, do you know what I mean? Like these categories, I'm going to end up having to get some little stickers and recategorize this entire page and figure out how it's going to work best for me. Because honestly, like these ones up here with the most space, for me, would benefit more for being like for tracking my sinking funds, really. But I will figure it out. I'm gonna have to sit down in December and really kind of plot out how I want to fill it in for January, and then going forward use that as a template. But that was my choice. I just want to stress, if the way that these are laid out and the categories that are written work for you, absolutely use it as is. Then the next pages are the expense trackers. If I remember correctly, they gave 4 pages for each. Yes. So you get 4 pages of expense trackers, and I plan on using these expense trackers the exact same way that I'm currently using them. Those pages, like the expense tracker pages in my current one, in that I'm not as an expense tracker at all, but instead where I actually write out the budget, like the math that I do for each paycheck. So I like that there's 4 pages because, sometimes you have a month that has 3 checks in it. So when those months happen, I'll have enough pages to cover for that. And because I don't use these as expense trackers, I use them for where I write down my budget. I knew that most of the months 2 of the pages aren't going to get used unless I have something else that I want to track down there. So I was completely fine with that because that happens to me in all budgeting books. It's just kind of how it is. So you get 4 pages for your expense trackers, and the columns are date, description, category, and amount. And then you have a monthly budget review. So you can put your total income, total expenses, the difference, and total savings. And then within your categories, you can put how much you spent, the percentage of it, and then each one of the wedges is 5%. So you can kind of color it in if you want to have like a nice little pretty pie chart visual, which I think I think it would be fun. Well, fun is maybe not the right word. I think it would be pretty and a nice visual to look at. Having said that, I don't know that I'll do it. There's a lot of budgeting books that have something similar like this, and I think for some people that probably really works. Again, it's just not something that I'm like, ooh, I definitely want to do that, but I might try it because who knows, maybe I'll like it. And then the questions they have is, did I achieve this month's goals? If not, why? Did I meet my budget? If not, why? Where did I have the most trouble? What could I improve next month? Actions I will take next month to increase my income. Actions I will take next month to cut my expenses. All very good questions, really. And then there's a dot grid page for notes and ideas. And yeah, just 1 page. So that is what a typical month is going to look like. If I remember correctly, each month is a different color. Let's see. I don't know if they ever duplicate any of the colors, but at least for sure, let's see. Okay, so I don't know if they fully duplicate some of them, but some of them are sort of in the same color wheel. There are 3 ribbons for bookmarks. I'll just move those out of the way. And then let's move to the back of the book. So there is a pocket, which is one of the things that is a mandatory thing for me with budgeting books, because even though most of my stuff is done digitally, there is occasionally like a GST check that comes in from the government or like a receipt that I need to keep. Now, I used to prefer having the envelope with each individual month so that whatever I do get, I can put with each month. But this one, it only had one at the back. The larger version of this book doesn't have any envelopes in it at all. And so I decided that I need an envelope. It is one of my mandatory things. I could have built in an envelope in the other one, I suppose, but this one came with, and I think I'll be okay with there just being one for the entire book, because I used to get more things, like paper copies of things I had to keep, and I don't get as many anymore. So I think maybe putting them all in one envelope at the back, I think this should be able to hold them, and it should be okay. We'll find out. I'm going on that assumption, but I could be wrong. So let's see. Okay, so there's a warranty card. If there's any issues with your order, you're not happy with it, blah, blah, blah. It comes with some cash envelopes. I think there were three of them. I like the colors. I won't use them. Not for what they're intended to anyways. They have, they say cash envelope budget system, then your category, and then a breakdown of your months. And they're made of like that weird material that's like waterproof and really hard to like bend or rip or anything. They can get wrinkled though. So you could use them if you didn't have envelopes at all. Like they might be a really nice way to start using the envelopes. I'm not sure what I'm going to use them for, but I will keep them with my stationery and budgeting supplies because I'm sure I'll find some kind of a use for them. I just don't use physical envelopes like this for my budgeting, so I don't need them for that purpose. But I do think they could be useful. And then it does come with stickers. Now, some of these stickers might look a little bit familiar if you were around closer to the beginning of the year when I was budgeting, because I was pulling from sticker sheets that are exactly like this for some of my stickers in the calendar. This company must be connected to Clever Fox, because I used to have a Clever Fox budgeting book, and they come with the exact same stickers. So I do like them. They don't give you enough for a full year at all, which is a little bit odd to me since it's a year-long budgeting book. But okay, so I use them for as long as I can use them for, and then I have to stop because, you know, they're done. Like, I don't know, and I don't always use ones like this, like the no spend, bills paid, things like that. I tend to use these icons up here. I'll use the payday ones, these bill ones down here. I kind of like these budgeting ones, and like when the payday ones run out, I'll use the dollar signs, and when the dollar signs run out, I'll use like the cash bundles, things like that. And on this side, there's like little flags. So it says budget to zero, money goals, make your money work for you, a penny saved is a penny earned, think rich, pay your debts first, wealth is in the mind. So that's those ones up there. And then a bunch of little bookmarky type ones. And then just some quotes, little inspirational ones, and thought bubbles. And debt is normal, be weird. I really like that. Oh, that's such a good sticker. Okay, and act your wage. That's also a very good sticker. Okay, so they come with, they're good. I like them. And let me try to find the beginning of sort of the back section. Okay, so here we go. So savings trackers. Now the saving tracker and like going forward sections are some of the sections that I was really intrigued by. So the savings tracker, it just says saving for, amount needed, due date, and then it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 12 lines per section. I guess they're assuming you're only putting money into each of your categories that you're saving for once a month, which that part doesn't work for me because I put in every paycheck, but okay, that's fine. So they're color coded, not necessarily to correlate with the month like that you did the budget on, but you know, like just to like make them pretty, which I appreciate. So there's 8 saving trackers. Yeah, so there's 8 saving trackers, and then they have debt trackers. So they have debt name, starting balance, minimum payment, and then 12 lines per category, and date, amount paid, and balance. So these are another thing that I was really excited for. So I'm going to have one for my line of credit, and I'm going to just use multiples of them to track the line of credit as it's going down. That was something that I already planned on doing. I don't plan on racking up debt on anything else. I mean, I say that, I don't know what life is going to have in store for me. Something could happen, but as of right now, I am planning on not, like I said, racking up debt elsewhere. So my main debt, my only consumer debt outside of like my car payment, is my line of credit. So I'm just going to start it on this blue one and then work my way through. So I will at minimum use 2 of them, but it'll actually be probably more like 2.5, maybe 3, because there are going to be some months where there's 3 paychecks, which means 3 payments on those months. And then there are going to be times where I come into more money or like extra money, so I can make extra payments. So say like income tax when I get my tax return, or if I get a GST check and I'm able to put it onto extra payment. That's the hope whenever I come into extra money, is to put it as an extra payment onto the line of credit. I know that there will be times where I have to put that money actually towards my living expenses, because I won't be able to do my budget otherwise. But the hope is that whenever something extra comes around, it can go on here, which means like I said, I'll use more than just the 2 blocks to track the paying off of the line of credit. But that's fine, because I don't plan on making another item that I need to track down. So we get, 6, 8, I don't know why I can't count. So we get 8 debt trackers. Something else, I know I keep going off on little tangents. I appreciate that they give the same amount of debt tracker. Oh, they give more debt trackers. 12 debt trackers. That I like that. Even though I don't have 12 to track, a lot of people have a lot of debt on a lot of different things. And I've had trackers in the past in budget books that don't give you enough of the debt trackers or enough of like the savings trackers. So I really appreciate that they actually are really keeping in mind that like people have a lot of debt. You might need to do a lot of tracking on individual things. And for the savings, like they give you 8, which I think is great. I'm gonna have to go through, like I said, because I haven't actually figured out how I'm gonna set it up yet. Maybe I end up using, because I like to use the savings trackers for my sinking funds, which means I would need 2 for each sinking fund, because of course I put money into each sinking fund on every payday, so they will use more than that space. So I might sort of, the first 2 of the first pages of the debt trackers, I might rename and use them use them as more savings trackers. I'll space it all out and figure out exactly what I need. We will see, but I do appreciate how many of both they are giving us. And then this holiday budget at the back, this is something new to me and I'm intrigued by it, I'm not gonna lie. I've never really been a huge holiday budget tracker. I know some people do. I just sort of save up money to go towards presents and my trip back home, and it all just somehow kind of works out. But I like this idea of like holiday budgeting and figuring out how much you want to spend on gifts, wrapping, cards, groceries, and decoration. I'm definitely going to put a baking category in there because I like Christmas baking. And so they do leave you more lines for more categories or expenses that you have individually. So for me, I'm thinking holiday as in Christmas, but this doesn't say Christmas. You can use it for whatever holiday that you want, which is, again, also I think a nice inclusive way of writing it down, because not everybody does Christmas. Like, it's just that my brain went to Christmas because we're coming up to Christmas. So then you have holiday gifts. You can list out who you got a present for, what you got them, what you budgeted, and what the actual amount you spent on them is. I don't set a budget per person. I set a budget in total for how much I have to spend on gifts for everybody, and then try to be fairly equal in the distribution of that money. And then holiday spending. Now, see, if I had something like this for 2024, what I'm doing right now, then I did earlier today, so it should be up before this video. I did a video with my weekly digital cash envelope update, and then I also did in there tracking of Christmas shopping expenses, because I'm trying to do that this year, and I don't have any like official kind of a tracker to do it in, so I'm just writing it in a notebook. So something like this would be great, because then as I do my Christmas shopping, I'm somebody who likes to do their Christmas shopping throughout the year when at all possible. I can just write it in as I'm going, which for me will be really great for helping with organizing. And then they have a regular bill tracker, so you put like the name of your bill down there, and then you start dating it, so like January through to December, and then you can either check it off or put like the dollar amount that you paid each time as you go through. I always have the best of intentions with these, and I start the year off doing them, and then somewhere along the way I forget, and then they end up about halfway filled, which is annoying because they're really satisfying to look at the end of the year when they're done. So I will try to do a better job with that. And then there's a summary of the year. So you have your month, you fill in your month going along the top, the income for that month, the expenses, the differences, and the savings. That is actually, what a nice way to get a snapshot of your year. So as long as in the monthly pages, you actually do like this information, then you can just take that and pull it over into this yearly summary section. And then monthly expense summary, so you have your categories: home, personal, food, transportation, healthcare, entertainment, loans, other, and then space for you to put other categories that are personal to you, and fill in for the month how much got spent. And then some dot grid paper. I think that's the last stuff, is the dot grid paper. And it was like their extra pages for notes and stuff. Yeah. So there we have it. This is going to be my 2025 budgeting book. I think the only things that really concern me are the size of the calendar and how I'm going to have to be very tiny and neat with my writing, and that it's not a Coil notebook. But I mean, clearly I knew it wasn't a Coil notebook going into it, so it was my choice to try something so completely new. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love it. It's really pretty. Again, I really like the cover, which I know isn't a good reason to purchase a book, but if I'm going to be using this multiple times every week for an entire year, I want it to be something that I like looking at. Now, having said that, the bigger version of it, which part of me is kind of wondering like, ooh, should I have done, because the pages would just give me more room to write, would have just been a solid purple. And when I was still trying to decide between the two, I was like, I can just decorate it with stickers and that will be great. So that is another option. If you're like, I really like this book, but like the way the pages are, but the size of it is just not going to work for you, you could up to the next size and just decorate the front if you wanted to do that. But here's a look at the back. It's just solid, and it does have a pen loop. Let's pop a pen in there. There we go. I don't plan on taking the book like on the road with me, so I don't think I'll ever really have a pen living in the pen loop, but I can see how it could be useful for people. So yeah, there we have it. The budgeting book that I have purchased for 2025 with the instructions. I will go over them and do my best to utilize this book in the way that it was intended to be used. I mean, we have a while yet, so I'm going to tuck this away and not open it again until December, when I really start to try to learn all of the different stuff that they write in to make sure that I use it as well as I can. And yeah, I don't know. Have you picked your 2025 budgeting book yet? Normally, I don't know that I pick them this early necessarily. I'm usually looking at them in November and purchasing in somewhere end of November, beginning of December. But for whatever reason, I was just feeling really motivated and really wanting to look at them and pick one. And I think it was because I knew that the one that I had is fine, but I didn't really want it for another year. And the one that I really wanted is discontinued, so there's no chance of getting that one. So I was like, you really need to start looking, because nothing is going to suit you and you're going to take a while. And it's true, it did. I've been looking at them for months. I always go with undated ones, so it didn't matter to me that it wasn't going to say 2025 on it or something like that, because I don't get them dated, so that part doesn't matter, which does mean I can look year round. And when I come across one, it's great. But yeah, so I'm really excited. It makes me, getting the new budget planner for the next year always makes me really sort of interested in budgeting, even though I haven't lost the interest in budgeting right now and I'm actually really in the zone with it. It just always kind of reinvigorates it and makes me like excited to keep going and excited to use the new book and figure out all the different little nuances and pages and see what I like on it. And you know, like, just, it's like a new toy when you're a kid and you're just like super psyched about it. It's my new budgeting toy. I know it's not a toy, but it's pretty and I like it, and it's going to be useful, and it is going to be with me through all of 2025 while I make inroads into paying off that line of credit. So I am very excited for the journey that this book and I and you are going to go along on. So thank you so very much for sitting through this sort of explanation of what this budgeting book looks like and me showing you all of the pages. If you end up buying one, let me know what you think about it, or if you've used one in the past, a review from you would be really great. If you've gone with a completely different one, I would also love to hear about that, because you can never have too many to sort of look at and research and pick from, in my opinion, because there's so many out there. I hope everybody is having a really great day. I hope that you're shopping for your 2025 budgeting book. If it hasn't started yet, when it does start, you have a really great time with it. If you've already committed to something, I hope that you're really happy with whatever it is that you have picked. I will talk to all of you later. I hope you stay safe out there. Have a really great day. Bye.